How are you, friend? Today we are going to learn the rest of our chapter, Standard 5th, Chapter 2, Evs, Part 2, Bones and Muscles. Dear friend, now the limbs. There are two pair of limbs in the human body, forelimbs and hind limbs. The bones that form your shoulder or pectoral girdle are attached to your backbone. Your upper arm bone is connected to your shoulder. The upper arm has a single long bone called the forelimb. Till humerus, the elbow, the two bones make up your lower arm. You have 27 bones in your hand and wrist. My dear friend, what an interesting fact it is. How many bones you have in your hands in your in your wrist? You have 27 bones, right? The second is hind limbs. At the bottom of the backbone, there are the flat bones which form the pelvic girdle. The leg bones are connected to the pelvic girdle. The femur or the thigh bone is the longest bone in your body. The femur or the thigh bone is the longest bone in your body. My dear friend, repeat it with me. The femur or the thigh bone is the longest bone in your body. The lower leg has two bones and about 26 small bones that makes up your ankle and foot. Most of these bones continue to grow till the age of 20 years, defining your height. Dear friend, most of bone used to grow till the age of 20 years for defining your height, right? One more time, the femur or the thigh bone is the longest bone in your body. The lower leg has two bones and about 26 small bones. So interesting it is. Let's go further. Joint. Although the skeleton is made up of hard bones, it provides movability to your body. It means you can move anywhere. Movement in bones is possible because of the way the bones are joined together. The junctions between two bones is called a joint. Let's repeat one more time. What is a joint? The junction between two bones is called a joint. Joints help us to bend, twist, turn or pick up things. My dear friend, joint is a very important. Cartilage is an elastic tissue that prevent the bones from rubbing against each other at the joint. Ligaments join the bones at the joint. Dear friend, in the image you can see the bones, the cartilage and the ligaments. Now let's repeat one more time. The junction between the two bones is called joint. Cartilage is an elastic tissue that prevent the bones from rubbing, and ligaments join the bone at the joint. So bone, cartilage, ligaments works together to move, to run, to twist, right? To bend. Now there are different types of joint. Number one, the immovable joint, which cannot be moved. The joint that do not show any kind of movements are called immovable joint. And in immovable joint, bones are held tightly together. My dear friend, you cannot make any movement, any change. Joint between the bones of the skulls are immovable joint. The same in the case where the teeth fit into the jawbone. The lower jaw is the only part of the skull that can move, right? The lower jaw. You can see in the diagram. Okay. Now let's further. Now what are the movable joint? Movable, as its name consists, it means which you can move. You can bend your leg. You can take your hand on the sky, right? Moving your hand, shaking your hand. All these things are movable. You are walking, so your leg also used to have one walk, right? So these all are known as movable joint. The joint that provides movement to the body are called movable joints. These are found between the bones of the arms, legs, hips and shoulders. These joints are covered with the cartilage for protections and do not wear away easily. दोस्तों एक बात याद रखो कि मूवेबल जॉइंट और इमूवेबल जॉइंट में क्या डिफरेंस है. इमूवेबल जॉइंट में हम उसको चेंज नहीं कर सकते. जैसे वी कैनॉट डू अ चेंज फ्रॉम द फोरहेड टू मूव. आप अपने हेड को अपर साइड से हिला नहीं सकते. ठीक है, तो वो इमूवेबल जॉइंट है. जो आप खोपड़ी है आप उसमें कोई चेंज नहीं कर सकते. आप ऊपर का पार्ट जो अपने टीथ का ऊपर का पार्ट को आप मूवमेंट नहीं कर सकते. हमारा मूवमेंट होता है कहां से होता है, हमारा जबड़ा कहां से हिलता है, वो डाउन पाथ से हिलता है. दैट्स व्हाई इट्स अ मूवेबल. अब देखिए देयर आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ मूवेबल जॉइंट्स. हिंज जॉइंट्स, इट इज द जॉइंट at the elbow and the knees. Such joint allows the bones to move only in one direction, like a door or its hinges. Fingers and toes too have the hinge joints. The second is ball socket joint. These joints are found in the hips and shoulders. These kind of joints allow movement in all the directions. You can move your arms in circular motions, clockwise, anti-clockwise, right? Then pivot joint. The joint between your head and the pivot joint, neck, is a pivot joint. Head and your neck, it is known as the pivot joint. It is already given in the diagram, you can see. It allows your head to move from side to side, up, down, left, right? Gliding joint, it allows movement between the connecting bones like the wrist, ankle, or the vertebra of the spine. See, it is already given in the diagram, right? Now let's talk about the last concept, that's a muscle. Dear friend, it helps in movement of the bones. Without muscles you cannot move. Muscles is very important for our body. Muscles are made of soft, fleshy but strong tissues which are connected to the bones with the tough band. That's why it is called the muscle. Tendons, they work in pair, one of the each side of the bone. They take turns to pull on the bones of which they are attached, thereby making their movement possible. Different types of muscles in a human body are. देखो दोस्तों, मसल्स बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारी बॉडी के लिए. हम जो भी मूवमेंट करते हैं तो सिर्फ हड्डियों से मूवमेंट नहीं होती. मसल्स गिव्स सपोर्ट टू द बोन्स. ठीक है, अब देखिए कितने टाइप्स के मसल्स है हमारे पास. नंबर 1, वॉलेंटरी स्केलेटल मसल्स, involuntary smooth muscles, and cardiac muscles. Let's familiar with all the three above. Voluntary skeletal muscles, these muscles are controlled by or will. These are found in the arm, leg, eye, tongue, etc. This muscle contract quickly and powerfully. When we move, read, write, walk, run, voluntary muscles are used. देखिए दोस्तों, अब जब भी चलते हैं, बोलते हैं, वो क्विकली काम करता है. ठीक है, when you are talking it works quickly. When you move, you used to write, walk, run, it work powerfully. तो ऐसे मसल्स को क्या कहेंगे हम? वॉलेंटरी स्केलेटल मसल्स. ठीक है, अब इनवॉलेंटरी स्मूथ मसल्स, दिस मसल्स वर्क ऑटोमेटिकली. You cannot control them. When you swallow the food, it moves through the stomach and intestine because of the muscular actions. Involuntary smooth muscles क्या होते हैं कि जैसे हम खाना खाएंगे वो ऑटोमेटिकली वर्क करता है, इसमें हमें कुछ करना पड़ता नहीं है. कैसे? अब तुम खाना खाते हो तब बाय फोर्सफुली वो तुम्हारे पेट में चला जाएगा, तुम्हारे स्टमक में चला जाएगा, राइट? दिस मसल्स आर वर्क ऑटोमेटिकली. The last is cardiac muscle. These muscles are specially kind of a muscles found only in the heart. This keeps our heart beating all the time. Cardiac muscles क्या है कि वो सिर्फ हमारे हार्ट में मिलता है, हमारे हृदय में मिलता है. और वो क्या करता है? It keeps our heart beating all the times. वो हमारे जो हृदय है, हमारा हार्ट है, उसको बीट माने कि धड़कने के लिए फोर्स करता है, हेल्प करता है. ठीक है, तो there are three types of muscles: voluntary skeletal muscles, involuntary smooth muscles, and the third is cardiac muscle. Your friend, ending of this chapter, what we have learned in part 2. Joint helps the bones to move. The joints may be movable or immovable. Joints क्या करता है, हमारे जो भी बोन्स है उसको मूव करने में मदद करता है. जॉइंट्स मूवेबल भी होते हैं और इमूवेबल भी होते हैं. मसल्स अटैच टू द बोन्स मेक द बोन्स मूव. मसल्स जो बोन के साथ चिपके रहते हैं वो क्या करते हैं, वो बोन्स को हेल्प करते हैं मूव करने के लिए. मसल्स आर द ऑफ 3 टाइप्स, वॉलेंटरी, इनवॉलेंटरी एंड कार्डियक. 3 टाइप के मसल्स हमारे पास है, वॉलेंटरी, इनवॉलेंटरी एंड कार्डियक. We have learned so many things in this chapter, right? You learn it for the future